All right, let's go ahead and begin. Appreciate you guys being here today. And it's always interesting to me to see who's plugged in and who's willing to pay the price and who's going to make excuses. And you guys had told me at the event, I'm going to keep it the same. I'm going to keep it real here with you guys and say I was extremely impressed with the majority of you guys who, did what you had to do last week, the task that you were given. I also was a bit what's the word for it? A bit disappointed in a few people that gave excuses. I had excuses from, hey, I can't get the information in because I'm busy working this weekend, or hey, I couldn't. I'm pointing some of you guys out, so hey, I was the day just got away from me, or whatever else. I didn't get it done. I gave you the assignment on Monday. You guys had 5 full days to simply put a vision board together, have your reason why, and then by end of the week, have your stats in for your 5 hours. Those are the only things I gave you guys to do. And the fact that I had to remind some of you guys on Friday and give you a couple of extra days is a bit disappointing. The vision board at the most should take you a couple of hours. If you really dug into maybe 3 hours and got into it, 2 hours out of your week. And so all I'm saying is this: you have to make a decision of what's important to you, what isn't. I would rather have your excuse be, hey, this wasn't important enough for me to get it done, versus you give me excuses. And I actually had someone sent me an email that I had to scroll through almost 5 pages, read that entire email of all the shit that happened last week. And I stopped reading after the first excuse because it only takes one excuse. Now, again, I'm not saying that challenges in your life aren't important. I'm not saying that I'm just, the kind of person who doesn't care. I'm saying that what I care about is what you asked me to do, which is to tell you what you have to do to succeed here and create a 6-figure, create a 7-figure residual annuity. Even if you didn't do anything last week as far as your productive activity time, you've got to report in so I see what you're doing. I'm looking at your reason why. By the way, the vision board as well. I'm going to cover this too. The vision board, some of you guys did a phenomenal job on the vision boards. Yeah, go ahead and go to Wikipedia, type in Google and say how to create a vision board, how to create a dream board. Some of you guys, we had to send it back. A few of you guys, you know who you are. I don't need to tell you who you are. You did a poor excuse for a vision board. Some people just put more money and had a bunch of $100 bills on a board. Doesn't do it. That's not going to motivate you. I promise you. It's what the money can get you, whether it be contributing more, whether it be creating more, whether it be having a dream house or the car, whatever it might be. Is just having a pile of money for most of you is not going to motivate you. Or putting on your vision board to pay my bills. That's not going to motivate you, get you up early in the morning, keep you late at night. It's not going to do it. You have to get into it and create a big enough reason why. Because if you don't have a big enough reason why, I promise you will not succeed here. And my hallucination is you're also not going to succeed in any large way in any area of your life, because you're treating everything like you did you're looking at this as being homework. You're looking at this being something you do last minute, do the bare minimum you have to do to at least get a passing grade. This is not me grading you. This is you making a declaration which you're going to accomplish, having your what and your why. And if you don't have a big enough reason why, you will not do it. I promise you, you have to create a big enough reason why. So let's cover what we talked about last week. So by the way, those of you who did a piss poor vision board, you've got to redo it and get it back to me this week. And I'm going to go through them again on the flight tomorrow, going to Mexico City. So I've got several hours to go through all your vision boards, your reason why, and give input back if I need to. But go ahead and type in here if you felt you need to redo your vision board. Now, I understand the first time of doing this, it's almost like the way you want to look at it is, imagine if you had a genie lamp. You found a genie lamp and you rubbed that lamp. The genie came out and said, your wish is my command. What do you want? What is your reason why for this year? Why are you going to pay the price between now and Mexico? Why are you going to do it? If you don't have that down, redo it. And the first time, the first blush of this is challenging. But here's the thing, I want to ask you this question, which is, if I asked you, what do you want? Some of you guys would be lucky to last 5 minutes. What are you going to do? Why are you going to do it? Most of you guys, your response to me is 5 or 10 minutes. I will tell you, if you ask those same questions to anybody massively successful, those like John Weems, Eric, Adrian, others, right? If you ask them that question, they can go on for hours. You ask me that question, I can go on for hours, as you guys know. You have to learn this a little bit, because most people aren't used to it. Because what happens is, here's again my question to you is, how many of you got out of college and high school and said, let me go world, I want to go out, I want to be average. So how do you become average? Well, first of all, you quit dreaming because, when you're younger, you have all these dreams and aspirations. I mean, in fact, I used to joke about my kids, they're a little bit older now, but you gave my kids, my little girl, Jaslyn, you gave her a cardboard box. Within 45 minutes, she was Wonder Woman in a Ferrari, because they have that imagination. What happens through life is we get to the point of we graduate, for example, we have all these dreams and aspirations. What happens? It becomes painful because we don't accomplish those things. So we just we take our lifestyle down to just low enough so we have a life, but not a lifestyle that we want. And so we take and instead of moving our vision bigger, what we want to accomplish, we back it down to within the realm of what kind of money we're earning and what we're actually doing, to be complacent and to be average. If you guys come here and you want to be extraordinary, you have to be extraordinary in how you do things and how you accomplish things. When I ask you guys how you're doing today, and I get you guys are smart, not use the word fine. Those that had the conversation with me in Omaha a week and a half ago know how much I hate that word fine, but saying good, whatever else. I don't always feel like saying average, or I don't always feel like saying great. I don't always feel like saying amazing. I don't always feel like Zig Ziglar says I'm doing amazing and consistently getting better. I don't always feel like doing it, but I tell myself it over and over again. And if I start having a conversation in my mind about why I don't have the energy, whatever else, I do not negotiate with my brain. I tell myself the truth in advance. If you use the words, I'm depressed, I'm tired, well, guess what? Your mind is self-justifying. Your life will revolve around that. You will be tired. You will be depressed because you're labeling yourself. And so you got to be careful of the words that you're using. All right, so let's talk about last week. Last week, I had you do your vision board, your why. For those that hadn't done it, those that came in April, we're just kind of tweaking it. Productive activity time. How many of you got at least 5 hours? I can be completely honest. Of productive activity time. What I want you to do is write down, type in the window how much you reported in. Again, this is us being willing to share with everyone. We're all a family here. I don't care if the number is 0. I don't care if it's 1 hour. I don't care if it's 5 hours or 10 hours. What was your number last week of productive activity time? I'm expecting at least 47 of you that aren't driving right now to type in the chat window how many productive activity hours you put in last week. Let's call each other out in the carpet. If the number is 0, you've got to catch up. And again, what are we talking about? We're talking about right now, we're 90 days out from the events, 90 days out. So 4, 8, right? 16 weeks. Take 16 weeks times 5 hours. What is that? 16 times 5, guys, what is it? Thanks for your honesty, Scott. Awesome, Rod. So is the number 80 or 90? So what is if we take 16 times 5. 16 times 5 is what? It's 80 hours, right? Is that right? Close to 80 hours? 16 times 5. Okay. So 80 hours. 80 hours is what you're expected to put in as the bare minimum between now and the event. If you don't do 5 this week, you did 3 this week, you got to do 7, you got to do, so let's say you did 7, for example. I'm sorry, you did less than 5. You did 3 hours, for example, this week. You've got 2 to catch up. So now you've got 7 hours this week to catch up to it. You've got to put in at least 80 hours to keep in the bare minimum of what you need to accomplish. Now, those 5 hours don't seem like a lot. You guys remember those who were in Omaha. It took you guys, out of those 6 hours, we stopped you here and there, but of those 6 hours, a lot of you guys didn't put in put in even 3.5, 4 hours of productive activity time. Okay. So let's cover some of these things. Again, here's what I want you guys to do. So as you guys know, we're compounding one thing after the next each week. So I had you guys do certain things last week. And the thing we asked you to do last week was simply your vision board, if you didn't do it already, and your reason why to get that in. So if you guys didn't get it in yet, make sure you get it in. Your vision board and your reason why is what we gave you to do. And then for everyone involved, April and August, what we asked you to do is simply report in. That was it, report in. And of course, we asked you guys all three the compound effect. Those that came to Omaha in August got the compound effect from us. Those that didn't come in August came in April. You've got to get the compound effect if you don't have it already. If you read it before, read it again. Success leaves clues, and also repetition is the mother of skill. I would much rather have you read, for example, one book 5 or 6 times to get it down than read 7 books. Because it's not about reading it, it's about applying it. And the more times you read it, the more you're going to apply it. So what I want you to do is, if you haven't read it yet, or if you have read it yet, you read it again, or listen to it on Audible, and you have until the end of September to have that done. Now, what we're adding to it this week, is the 5 hours of productive activity time is going to be the focus. As we know, that's always the focus every single week. But additionally, what I need out of you guys is 1 hour a day of personal development, 1 hour a day of growing, of learning, of expanding. So I want you to write down, if you can write this down, write down my hour of power, my hour of power. And that hour of power needs to be a half an hour of motivation, whether it be a YouTube video, and I'll send you guys after this a link to my YouTube channel that I use when I work out and when I'm doing my hour of power. It's what I listen to, and I keep adding to it every single week. So I'm going to give you guys a link to that if you want to use some of those videos. Something that motivates you. I don't care what it is. If you're use net time, which means no extra time. If you're in the car, if you're in the shower, if you're at the gym, no extra time. You're going for a walk, that is net time, no extra time. But half an hour of that needs to be motivation, and a half hour of that needs to be learning something, whether it be reading a book, listening to an Audible book, learning a new skill, whatever that may be. So a half hour of growth and a half hour of motivation. So I want to see if you guys could type in the chat window your commitment over this next. Now, again, you're compounding this stuff. So we talked about last week, as far as reporting in your 5 hours of productive activity time, you've got to keep that going every single week. You've got to report in those 5 hours. What we're doing is working on getting you on center line. And to get you on center line, we're going to keep compounding these things week after week. I'm going to talk to you in a bit. He reminds you guys, and those that came to Omaha in April, I'm going to share with you guys what I shared to those that came to Omaha here in August, of how you find this time to do these things, these shifts in your life. Now, I'm going to ask this question. How many of you can remember how many days on average statistically it takes to create a new habit? How many days to create a new habit? So you've got to do these at least the next 3 weeks, report in of your productive activity time, no matter what that is, and you'll have that Excel spreadsheet I'll send you guys again to report in. 21, you guys know it. So you've got to lock yourself down for 21 days, and for the next 21 days, bare minimum, you're going to keep doing this. But to create a new habit, I want the 1 hour of productive activity time every single week, every single day, 1 hour. And I prefer to have that hour be 7 days a week. At a bare minimum 5, you want to do the bare minimum. I don't think you guys are bare minimum people. 7 days a week for 21 days straight to create a habit. All right, so a half hour of productive activity time, or half an hour of that time needs to be on growth, learning, and a half hour on motivation. You guys have all committed that to everybody else. I'm going to ask you to report that on your weekly report. Now, we changed it from going to Bree, because she was getting obviously hundreds of emails, to going to one mailbox that I can look at each week at one time. I chunk my time, as you guys know. And so that mailbox is millionaire@energynetwork.net. Again, millionaire@energynetwork.net. That's where you report your 5 hours productive activity time. And you can report, I don't care if it's daily, go ahead and report. I love, this is an email mailbox that I can scan through. So let me know how it's impacting your life. The half hour of productive activity, or half an hour of learning, and a half hour of motivation. Okay, so that's what we're adding this week. So remember, 5 hours of productive activity time. And now we're adding to that 1 hour, no extra time, of half hour of that is growing and learning and expanding, and a half hour is motivation. Okay? So let me cover this as far as time. So we all feel that we don't have enough hours. And in fact, I will say that 2/3 of the excuses that I got, when you guys, I said you have to have the vision board down, you have to have the drink, the excuses were, well, I took a couple days off last week for the event, and now it piled on as far as work. I showed you guys in Omaha how to find 40 hours a week of time you're spending somewhere else already. Not family time, not cutting that out. I'm talking how to find 40 hours out of your week if you're already putting in 40 hours a week at your job, which is technically 50 hours a week, or 55 hours a week at your job, maybe 60 hours a week. How to find 40 hours. I want you to write this down so you get it down. And what I want you to do this week is I want you to have to find this time. You need to find the time to devote to Energy Network, your 5 hours minimum productive activity time or more, which out of the 40, I'm asking for 5. Additionally, the hour of power should be no net time. It should be net time, no extra time. So that's not extra time you're having to spend, but I'm showing you guys how to find the time. What I want you to do is I'm going to give you the averages here. Again, I'm going to remind those that came to Omaha in August. I'm going to share this with those that came to Omaha in April, how you find the time. So that should never, ever, ever be your excuse to me or to everyone else here or to yourself. Don't take that shit of why you didn't accomplish the things you committed to do. I would rather have you say, I chose not to, than to lie to me and to you by saying you don't have the time, because we all have the same amount of hours in the day. We all have the time. We're choosing not to take the time. So let's talk about the 5 hours of productive activity time. So let's talk about these numbers. So number one, the average person spends 2.7 hours a day watching television. 2.7 hours a day. Let's call that 3 hours. 3 hours a day. So I want you to write down, if you're taking notes, how many hours you spend every single day watching television on average. And if you write the number down, now monitor it and look at what time you're actually spending doing it. The average American, 2.7 hours a day. The average American, 1.9 hours per day on social media. So 2 hours a day on social media. Now, one thing I ask you guys to do that we're in Omaha is turn off your notifications on your email on your phone, turn off your notifications on social media on your phone, and don't get in the habit, if you have this habit right now of not even realizing it, all of a sudden you're in social media a dozen times. I mean, if you want to use no extra time when you're going to the bathroom and you're sitting on the throne, go ahead and do that for social media or news, right? But back away the time you're spending fruitless time by getting on social media, looking at those that really don't care about you anyway and what their lives, again, people are not talking about this typically, unless you're my sister. You don't talk about the crap that's happening in your life. You're talking about people are putting things on there that are highlights, right? So it's not real reality anyway. So if you're finding yourself doing it over the next month, delete it off your mobile device. Delete it off your phone so you have to physically go there on your computer to go into social media. Delete it off your phone just for 1 month. Create new habits. But write down what the amount of time you're spending on social media. 1.9 hours is the average. You cut those two things in half. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying spend 1 hour a day on social media and spend 1.5 hours per day on television watching. So just cut it in half. That gives you right there 32 hours a week that you're spending right now. 32 hours a week. You're spending 32 hours a week on average between television watching and social media. Cut that to half. That gives you 14.7 hours a week, gives you 15 hours a week right there if you only cut it in half. If you only cut your TV time in half, your social media time in half, that takes you to 14.7, 15 hours a week right there. Okay, 15 hours a week. You guys say you don't have the time for 5 with Energy Network to create a legacy, to create a career, to create a multi-million-dollar residual business? That's bullshit. You guys can agree to that, I'm sure. You're choosing not to because you don't have a big enough reason why. Let's talk about the average person spends 1.7 hours driving. Not all of you guys do. If you work somewhere else, I guarantee you do. 1.7 hours per day driving. Write this down. So I want you to look at your situation and find out where you can find the time to shift time to create new habits over the next month in order to shift your time. 1.7 hours a day driving is the average. 1.07 surfing the internet. Blindly surfing the internet 1 hour a day. The average person spends 1 hour a day surfing the 7 hours a week. 8 hours a day you're spending sleeping. The average person, let's say it's 7 hours. So what if you did these simple shifts? What if you took your 1.7 hours a day and put at least half of that into productive activity time? Whether it be calling potential clients, following up, whether it be using it for your personal developments, shifting half of that, about a half hour a day shifting while you're driving, listening to an Audible. What if you shifted and took, instead of an hour a day surfing the internet blindly, take that down to half an hour a day? And what if you cut whatever sleep you're getting down to 1 hour less? Could you survive on 1 hour less of sleep? You'll get in the habit. I sleep 4 to 5 hours a night. Typically it's 3 to 4. I've actually increased it a little bit because I've increased my workouts. I'm a little bit more tired than normal. So I sleep about 5 hours a night. That gives me an extra, from the average person, an extra 2 hours a night. Take 2 hours times 7. That's 14 hours a week I get that most people don't get. But could you not just shift? I don't care if you sleep 9, bring it back to 8. You sleep 8, bring it back to 7. And we talked about in Omaha, don't let your first decision be to hit the snooze button. This is a whole pet peeve I've got. The average person hits snooze in the U.S. 3 times is the average, 3 times. And obviously snooze is set for 10 minutes at a time. You don't fall back asleep, I promise you. 10 minutes at a time. Then it goes off again, 10 minutes. It goes off again, 10 minutes. You're finally up after the 3rd time on average. That's 30 minutes a day you're wasting on snooze. 30 minutes a day, take that times 7, 210 minutes that you're spending snoozing. That gives you time right there, right? Nearly 4 hours. 4 hours out of your week right there. Okay? So that gives you 15.3 hours a week. 15 hours a week between cutting your driving and making it productive at least half that time. Of surfing the internet, half, so about a half hour a day, and sleeping 1 hour less gives you an extra 15.3 hours per week. Now let's talk about the other thing, which is emails. Emails, it's important to follow up, but the average person in the U.S. is spending 4 hours out of their day in their email. Now, I'm not saying don't go to your email. I'm simply saying chunk your time going into your email. Don't just sit there with your email open waiting for it, because you're going to all of a sudden have something come in. You got to respond to that. So when you're doing your productive activity time, that is making phone calls, sending emails, and following up. That's it. You can't waste your time. You got to let the emails come in as they come in and get to it at the end of your productive activity time. Now, you may say, well, if a client opens an email, I need to respond. But what happens is it slows you down because you're shifting gears all the time. Don't shift gears, chunk your time. Actually, Rachel sent me a really awesome article. Rachel, you can type in the window. I don't remember the exact number, but I'm going to say, I think the average was like 20 some minutes that it takes an average person to shift when you shift from thing to thing to thing. So if you, for example, you're doing some work, making phone calls, you look at your social media, or you're making phone calls, you go in your email and start responding. It takes 20 some minutes to shift your mind from this task to this task. So chunk your time. But if you cut your email surfing down, the other thing is, take your time with emails and budget in your calendar, for example, 1 hour at, let's say, noon, whatever time it is, and 1 hour, let's say, at 4 o'clock to check your email. So if you cut your time down to half by chunking your time, what ends up happening is you now have gained 10 hours out of your week. So add those 3 things alone. I'm going to cover this again, and I want you to look at your situation and let me know right here, is you not accomplishing your goals? Is it because you don't have the time? The excuse I've gotten from about 2/3 of you that didn't get your stuff done last week. Is it that you don't have the time, or you don't have a big enough reason why? I want you to type in the window and let me know your honest to God, the truth here. About 40 some of you should be responding here. Did you not have, if you even put in 10 hours, could you put in 20 hours? So you add those together, you're sitting here over 40 hours a week that you now have by simply shifting things a little bit. Thank you. 23 minutes. Thank you, Rachel. So by shifting, again, take your television watching. The average is roughly 3 hours down to 1.5. Take your social media time from 2 hours a day down to 1 hour a day. Take your driving time, make half of that productive activity time. Take your surfing the internet down for about a half hour a day from 1 hour, and sleep 1 hour less, and don't hit snooze. 1 hour less, don't hit snooze. And then you cut your email time down from 4 hours down to 2 hours. Shifting those things right here and there, even if you have a full-time job already, gives you 40 hours out of the week. So you can't tell me you couldn't spend 20 hours of that. 20, so you're doing basically a third of what I'm telling you to do. You can't put in 10 hours into your business. So I want you to type in the window, tell me the truth. And for everybody here, we're all friends. We don't share outside of here. We've got to call each other on our shit. I call myself on my shit. People in the office call me on my shit all the time when I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it. Do not negotiate with your brain. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. Tell everybody here, is it that you didn't have the time or you chose not to do it? Look at the comments here. Exactly, John, it's priorities. It's funny how nobody wants to comment. It's easy to comment when we're doing our shit. It's hard to comment when we know people are going to call us on our shit. Thanks, Stephen, for being honest. Stephen, you have my my recognition because you're being honest here. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Gary. Love it, Michael. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Felipe. Melissa. Julie, Greg, Mark, Terry. Anthony. Glenn. Love it, Mark. All right, about half of you guys commented. Half of you guys are not wanting to comment because either I'm telling you guys what you don't want to hear or you don't buy in. The whole thing with me is logic makes sense to me. And this to me is so logical, which is everyone has the time. You know, I'm not as rough on you guys as my mentor was. And I told some of you guys the story is when I had to call him every single morning around 8 o'clock in the morning. Every single day I had to call him. And this guy was worth a couple $100 million. And what would happen is if I gave him any excuse whatsoever, he would hang up the phone. And if I ever said I didn't accomplish something because of time, then I was done for. I mean, he was so pissed because he's like, Corey, let's walk through this again. This to me is logic. So how do you get yourself to push through when you don't feel like it? The only way you're going to do that, because you'll never wake up in the morning and absolutely love and feel like making cold calls, picking up the phone. You will not feel like doing it. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to get any better. You're not going to all of a sudden wake up one morning and a halo over your head and all of a sudden you're passionate about this shit. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen for me. It doesn't happen for the top producers. It's not going to happen for you. The only way you're going to do it is the carrot and the stick. Have a big enough reason why. Big enough reason why. You guys remember when in Omaha with, was it Mario? I think it was Mario, the example, talked about his wife. And Mario, we asked about he's going to, hit $1 million, hit $2 million in commission. And we said it was life or death for his wife. There was no question in his mind because he had a big enough reason why. Now, I'm taking this in a positive way, which is why your vision board and your reason why have to be compelling. I don't want the fluffy stuff because I want to, have more money. I want to pay my bills. I want to have, that's not going to motivate you. You've got to have a big enough reason why, not something sexy to us. It's got to make sense to you of why you're going to do it. Remember the example I gave actually Eric gave the example of why he quit smoking and why he lost 30-some pounds. And he got emotional about it because he anchored so much pain to seeing himself in a casket with his daughters over the top, wondering why he didn't change his lifestyle and change his life. You've got to have a big enough reason why or you're not going to do it. All this stuff is so simple. So why is it so hard to execute? We've said this before. If you want to lose weight, it's simply eating better and moving more. And have, that's it. Nutrition and working out more. And eating less for a lot of you. That's simply that. This business is so simple, it drives me crazy. But if you don't have a big enough reason why, start there. Quit focusing. You guys, it's human nature. We're guys, a lot of us here. Guys think logically. Women think emotionally. Most women don't have, I look at your vision board and they look sexy, look amazing. Most guys think logically and they skip over this piece or do the bare minimum they have to, the vision board. But I will tell you, if you don't have that reason why, you don't have it at the point where it makes you emotional, that locks you down, that it forces you to do things you don't feel like doing. If you don't have that, you're not going to succeed here, and you're not going to succeed in a massive way in anything you're doing. Because I will tell you, when you're going for greatness, the rest of the world is against you. The rest of the world doesn't believe the way we're talking here. They believe in comfort. They believe in mediocrity. And that comfort and mediocrity has a certain mindset. You guys are fighting your million-year-old brain by making your brain do what you tell it to do, what you command it to do, versus just rolling with the punches and having fun. And your whole motivation in life is to watch the football game on the weekend and to party. That's your whole motivation to get through the week. Start with the big enough reason why. Now, what I want you to, your assignments are this for this week. Number one is get back to what we did last week, the vision board and the big enough reason why. If it's not good enough, you know which ones if you don't have one, a big enough reason why you don't have a good enough vision board. Spend the 2 hours to do it. Spend the 3 hours and do it right. You go ahead online, type in Google how to create a vision board. Wikipedia has it out there. How to create a proper vision board. Create a vision board. Number two, make sure you're reading your book. The compound effect, all of this stuff, it's talking about, we're talking about here, how one decision each day, one simple task each day, and how it compounds, how it can change your life. Okay? Next thing is find the time. So I want you to start looking at the time you're spending, start analyzing it. And actually, there's actually a product out there. I know those that came to Omaha here, more about it later. TIMEULAR, TIME bucks. Then there's nothing per month, but it gives you a little device. I'll show you guys next week how to use it. We showed those that came to Omaha this in August, but it allows you to keep track of your time. You just basically, it's an app on your phone or your computer, and you're making phone calls. You have it on that. You turn it over for emails, turn over for social media, turn over for the different things you're doing, and you can pick what it's tracking for you, but allows you to really understand the time you're spending on things. We'll talk about that tool next week, but look at the time you're spending. How can you find the time? And you've got to get yourself then to create those habits and get up an hour earlier in the morning, to not hit snooze, to jump out of bed. You've got to create the habits. And the only way you do that is by repetition, doing it every single day for the next, let's talk about the month of September. You guys spending the month of September and following what we're telling you to do can literally change and impact your life forever, because you'll now have the new process, the new habits. You got to stay on top of it. It's not just going to stay there, but you'll now have everything, and the momentum will start kicking in for you. So finding the time, and then remember the add-on for this week. The add-on for this week is the hour of power. And then you're reporting this week by Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern is when I need your report in to millionaire@energynetwork.net. Let me know what's happening. If you, I don't care if you report in every single day, but your half hour of growth, personal development, motivation, and a half hour of learning. Okay, so that hour, an hour a day minimum for the next, through the month of September. Okay, I want to ask you guys here to make a public declaration, which is, who of you are willing to find an hour out of your day to pump your brain up, to fill your buckets up so you're ready for the day, preferably in the morning if you possibly can, while you're at the gym, you're in the car, whatever. A half hour of motivation. I'll send you the link here after this is done of my personal development on YouTube. But a half hour, by the way, YouTube is great if you have a mobile device. I think it's called, is it YouTube Red? I forget it's called, YouTube Red, I think it is. It's like $10 or so a month, which sounds like a lot, but what you're going to get out of this is invaluable, which is the ability to download ahead of time. So when I travel, I use that. If I'm in the car, so I'm not using my data, but also YouTube Red allows you, when you're watching a video and I play at the gym, if my screen shuts off or my screen's down, it still plays the video. It doesn't, and there's no commercials. Okay, so we'll look at the notes later, but I see a lot of you guys are saying yes, you're willing to do it. All right, questions. Spent 30 minutes with you guys. Questions or comments? Anything you feel that you need from me to accomplish your goals here this week? And while I'm waiting for that, any questions or comments from you guys, those that watched, the other something you have from last week is watching the LeBlanc video 12 times before today. And how many of you saw a shift? A few of you initially in Omaha said you would love to go, but you can't go. How many of you now have got your brain second guessing that and saying, in fact, I know several of you actually have already registered for LeBlanc to go to the event and cut yourself off from retreat. And I will congratulate you for making the declaration, the commitment to be there. And now you got to find a way to do it. But when you watch that video, it started getting your mind away from thinking of why you can't and going to the how, and you're getting it in your psyche to where you almost can see that video now in your head when you close your eyes. So all this stuff that I'm talking about, when we get to LeBlanc, If you have the ability to get there, I'm telling you, I'm going to bring everything I've got to get you to the point where you're going to have the synapses and know exactly what to do. The 80%, which is in your mind, 80% is always psychological and 20% is execution. You're going to have all of those components. You now know exactly what to do. I mean, let me ask this question. How many of you guys know exactly what to do to succeed with Energy Network? I want you to type it in the chat, what it takes to succeed to make a 6-figure income, to make a 7-figure income over the next couple of years, 2-3 years. How many of you know exactly what to do after coming to Omaha? And what is it? So if you're not doing it, I guarantee it's here. So don't miss Mexico. Don't miss it. I'm going to get your psyche again on Friday as we're going to do a tour of LeBlanc in Los Cabos with all of you on Periscope. Don't miss it on Friday. Okay, appreciate all of you guys. Again, don't forget your commitment, which is so just keep this in your mind now from now on, every Friday, 5 p.m. to report in. I want to know your productive activity time. I want to know what you did for that week. I want to know whatever you're growing, whatever you're learning, good, bad, or ugly. I want you to send that to me through millionaire@energynetwork.net every Friday. The add-on this week, besides your 5 hours of productive activity time, is adding 1 hour now. Again, look at the time you're spending. Don't just get off of here and don't just sit down. I want you to look at the amount of time you're spending on these different key areas, how much time you're sleeping, how much time you're hitting snooze, how much time you're spending on social media, how much time on emails, how much time watching television, and can you cut all that into half and look at the amount of time you could be devoting if you just retrain your mind. Okay? Don't forget the hour of power every single day from here on out. Talk soon, guys. Appreciate you. Have a phenomenal week, everybody. Let's lock and load. Bye, everybody.